Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Think Tank Sports. Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen. Check us out on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and the IG. Listen to us on Anchor or wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple and Spotify and Stitcher and Amazon and a whole bunch of other ones. Tune in and all that kind of good stuff. Watch us on YouTube. Here we are once again. And we're going to get at some NBA. You know, we seem to kind of go here and there with the NBA, and there's certainly some compelling storylines and things going on. But the NFL, obviously, and college football captivate and us too. So, you know, that is the deal there. But this is not a one horse show or a one pony show. I totally botched that. Anyways,
wow.
Over on the other side of the screen is my good friend Mike, and here's me landing the plane. How the heck are you?
Remember a minute and a half ago when we finished up our pre-show meeting, and I said I'm gonna not talk as much and let you steer the plane and drive the horse, or whatever analogy I used. And,
steer the horse, drive the plane, whatever.
Right. And I decided during that 45 seconds of your opening soliloquy that I'm out on that. I'll be doing the majority of the talking, Dave. No, the NBA, I think, well put, many a distraction, especially this time of year. And I'm so tired of people saying, oh, the NBA season doesn't really start till Christmas. Well, then why are they really playing these games? And do those injuries really not mean anything? And the trends and the teams that have started off slowly, does that mean that, that doesn't happen? So I disagree with that a lot. I know you and I are both longtime NBA fans.
Oh, yeah.
And Dave, my fandom started way, way back in the late 70s when one Larry Joe Bird was running up and down the court for the Boston Celtics on the parquet floor. And, basically the team of the 80s. I know you're going to argue that your team was the team of the 80s.
More titles, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It's overrated. More cheaters.
Overrated.
Yeah. I mean, you had a dude on the team that.
Okay, five to three.
All right. But AC Green wasn't having sex on purpose. That's not fair, Dave. You think the Chief Robert Parrish was abstaining from anything during those?
Are you kidding me? With a nickname called Chief? There's no way he was withstanding from anything. You got to be kidding me.
We're off to a roaring start here with the NBA podcast.
Yes, we are
talking, relitigating situations from 40 years ago. But I was going to try and bring in my Boston Celtics to today's roster. And you said coming in, we wanted to talk about the best teams in the league. Well, Dave, the Boston Celtics are 22-7, that's 759 winning percentage.
Yep.
They're averaging 119 points a game, giving up 112, differential of 6.8 total.
Yep.
Great at home, 11-2. Very good on the road, 11-5, and 7-3 in their last 10. And just generally off to a very good start. Jason Tatum, early MVP odds for sure.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Marcus Smart is healthy and, happy in a contract season or got paid. So just great to see all of them maturing. And then Friday, they're going to get Robert Williams back, their starting center. And that's just going to make the entire bench longer with White going to the bench and, coming off as a sixth man. And it's just good to see where they're at. And Malcolm Brogdon making a big difference on this roster. Just coming in, adding firepower and defense, and just the kind of player that's the perfect fit to this type of roster. He doesn't have to come in and try to make 17 threes a game or carry a team. He can play his game and it fits in nicely. So I love where the Celtics are at right now, Dave. I don't know, as a Laker fan, if you have any thoughts, or obviously they played the other night and went to overtime. That was a fun little game.
Yep, definitely
I'm
fun.
saying that because we won. So.
Yeah, well, of
course.
What
do you think of Celtics?
No, they are. I think I said this a few weeks ago, or slash the last time we talked NBA. It's really amazing that you think about all the issues with Udoka before the season even started. And, was that going to throw them for a loop or whatnot? And it is the farthest thing from anyone's mind.
Right.
The team has come out and said, based on their actions on the court, we are the best team in the NBA. And everybody is just, forgetting about the coaching stuff and just saying, look at them, 119 points a game, as you mentioned, where I like Mike 14-5 in the East.
Right.
Really, really establishing themselves as the team to beat in the East, not just in the NBA overall. Yeah. And I think I was also thinking about the Robert Williams piece on Friday. You could really make an argument for if they had Robert Williams in the finals,
Sure.
that would have made a major difference in a series against Golden State that went 6 games. So that's a major improvement. Obviously, it's December. It's early. He's going to get time to get in. They don't have to rush him back because they're playing so well. He's going to be able to move his way into the lineup and ease his way back into the game. Just a great start by the Celtics. And yeah, you have to be happy with where they are.
Yeah, it's long been said when you have a stinky situation, winning is the great perfume. And certainly the timing of the Udoka thing too, if it had happened 10 days later after the season had started and everything broke, it probably would have been a lot different.
Yep.
10 days before the season, we'll take it as far as if something was going to happen, the timing of it for the season and the players to rally around while they're in training camp, it actually probably brought them closer together. Unfortunately, it had to be something as stupid and nasty as what Udoka did. But they've moved on seamlessly. So, here we go. What's the next team you want to talk about, buddy, or anything else?
No, Celtics are good. Mike, I think the team that we have kind of hoped and wanted would, to really step up has finally stepped up, and that is the New Orleans Pelicans. 117, points per game. They're 8-2 in their last 10. A big week this last week with the back-to-back games against the Suns, and being able to beat them the first game and then beat them in overtime in the second game. This is a team that, again, we have wanted and hoped for, that they would come together and play well as a team, and they're finally doing that. Giving up 111 points, so they're +6. Celtics are +6.8, so they're right there. Zion is there. The team is relatively healthy. They're just playing great, and it's nice to see finally, from my perspective anyways. And I'm not a huge Zion fan because he went to Duke. There's the puke emoji. But I do like their style of play, and I like the players on the team, and it's just great to see that young team continue to gel after the horrible start last year, and then the great finish at the end of the year to get into the playoffs. Loving the Pelicans right now.
Yeah, rightfully so. And as this team transitions into everything run through Zion, I think they did that a little too early and a little too early, often in his rookie season, and certainly the injuries have been terrible. But with Brandon Ingram out, they really don't have a choice right now as to run it through Zion. When Ingram comes back, it'll be interesting to see, and he should be back shortly as well. The one injury they do have, he happens to be their closer. I think they're alpha male, but there's a changing of the guard here with Zion. So as long as that, and Ingram has really, after his, early appearances in the NBA, which he was very young and
Mhm.
you know, cocky, not confident. You know, he's transitioned from he's flipped that. Now he's confident and not quite cocky. And I think that's exactly where they need him to be. So this is going to be a fun team to watch, like you said, all predicated on Zion being healthy. As far as
Yep.
their success on the season goes, I looked at their depth chart earlier. They have a starter named Herbert Jones. Do you have any idea who that guy is, or where he played, or what his situation came?
Isn't he
I could
NC
see the
State?
no Alabama,
Oh,
rookie out of
Alabama.
Alabama,
Yes, 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 yes,
uh,
yes.
and he's just starting. He's 10 points a game, 2.3 assists, 3.5 rebounds. I was just surprised to see him in the starting lineup. But he's playing the best right now. Trey Murphy also having a nice rookie season. So they're believe it or not, they're young, but they're getting younger. It seems like on this roster, and those guys are contributing. So great Pelicans. No love on this podcast still for the Milwaukee Bucks. 20-7, Dave. 2 games ahead of the West Conference leading Pelicans. We've been through this forever with the Milwaukee Bucks on this podcast, as long as it's existed. It kind of started in the NBA bubble, and my criticalness of Giannis, and his shooting ability and all of that. Now they've won a championship since then, and so they got to back off
they
of
did.
that.
Yeah, you do have to just a little bit.
So this is a Bucks team that, as much as I made a big deal at the beginning of the show about these games matter, I don't know if they matter that much to the Bucks. After all of that, I mean, they need to stay healthy. They need to keep their rotations intact. They need to, just be ready for that next level. And there's games they're going to get up for, and be more challenged against Philadelphia and Boston and some of the West Coast teams. But this team's pretty much got it on cruise control. But it reminds me of the Yankees of last year. It was like, yeah, these teams are going to win, right? It feels like they're going to win. They're going to win all season, and anything short of a conference championship, it would just have to be a failure at this point for the Bucks.
Oh yeah, no doubt. They have benefited, from a couple weeks ago with Chris Middleton finally coming back, and so they're getting the rotation in. But defensively, Mike, they're number 2 in the NBA, giving up just 107.6 points per game. And that's been their calling card. When Milwaukee is successful, they play good defense, and that goes for a lot of teams, but some teams can get away with it. The Bucks, their defense is their calling card, and they did beat up on some West teams. This last week they won at Dallas and against Golden State. The Dallas game, Brook Lopez gets that wide open layup there with like 7 seconds to go. So they had some big wins here against these West Coast Western Conference teams. I apologize there. But I agree with you that they need to be in the conference finals for sure. And probably need to get to the NBA finals. Otherwise, it's a failed season for them.
Yeah, I agree. And their off the bench play has been much better. When you're bringing Bobby Portis and George Hill off the bench, I hate to say it, but your boy Grayson Allen too, his 3-and-D type of game is just a perfect complement for Giannis. So, we jumped right over them. I would much rather watch the Pelicans on a day in, day out basis than I would the Bucks, but I understand that we jumped over them as usual. So another team
we've seen a lot of the Bucks. We've seen a lot of the Bucks.
That's a good point. We always want to see the fresh new contender.
Oh yeah,
it's like when Golden State first was winning, and it's like, oh, these guys are awesome, best brand of basketball. And in the last few years it shifted into enough of Oh, I hate these guys that are all nice and clean and,
What's wrong with these
never get in
clean?
trouble.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
We
But
need something else.
something else. What else we got here, buddy?
The Memphis Grizzlies, Mike.
Mm,
They, also 18-9, like the Pelicans there. So, tied for first place in the Western Conference. They've won 6 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. Their challenge, I think, a little bit with the injuries. So, Ja Morant plays a couple games and then he's out tonight with right thigh soreness.
oh,
Okay. Really?
My right brain hurts. Does that get me out of the night's festivities or no?
Probably not.
Probs not.
And doesn't pay you like hundreds of thousands of dollars to sit at home and do nothing. So that's a little interesting. We could get into the load management and all that nonsense.
No, I'm good.
But it's not necessary. We know it happens. But it stinks because tonight you have Bucks, Grizzlies, and you have no Ja Morant.
Right. No, that does stink. And they have, besides Ja, been pretty healthy. Desmond Bane's been out a little bit. He's coming back shortly. I love this roster.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of just gritty, hard-nosed ball players that can get it done. I'm interested to see what Jaren Jackson can do this season. I think him and Dylan Brooks, those are the two that have to become the sidekicks to Ja, to really take them to the championship level. Steven Adams is nice in the middle and Brandon Clark off the bench for sure, but Jackson can score. Can he D up enough in the playoffs? Clark can D up enough. Can he score? Yes. Adams will rebound. If he's your scorer, then you're in trouble. That's pretty much how I look at that roster there. But,
but they definitely
fun team.
Yeah,
especially here on the East Coast, if they get that like 10-10 tip off, put them on, catch the first half of running, gunning, and dunking, dishing as swishing, as Claude would say.
Swishing and dishing. Oh yes,
in his nicely tailored 3-piece suit. So,
Who?
Anybody else next, buddy? Or
the Cavs.
Teams, got to give them a little head nod of respect.
Got to give them, a lot of head nod with the best points per game, opponents' points per game on the defensive end. You have to
give them a lot of head.
A lot of head nod.
Okay.
And that doesn't sound very good either. At 104.6, the best points allowed in the league. Spider is doing his thing at 29.2 points per game, and they've got 5 players averaging in double figures, Mike. So a very balanced attack for your Cleveland Cavaliers.
A player I loved him when he was on the Nets, Jared Allen, man. A healthy Jared Allen is dominant on the inside with his length and his speed and his quick twitch jump. He is just something else in the middle. So remains to be seen as they go down the stretch. Will he have the toughness mentally and physically to deal with Giannis and Embiid and Tatum and whoever else he ends up, guarding for this team? But another just fun team to watch with. It's interesting because they're kind of the middle generation in the NBA right now. You have the old heads that are, battling out with your Chris Pauls and your LeBrons and those types. And then you have, the younger crew, and we just talked about Ja, Morant, and Zion. The guys on this roster are kind of that in-between group, with Spider Mitchell and LeVert and Darius Garland. Of course, your boy Kevin Love, who's been around for a day and a half. But
it's a nice balance.
It is a nice balance and a nice representation of those 5 years in between the two, competing classes in the NBA. So interesting roster for sure.
Yeah. it's good. And, you look at, it's kind of the top 5 teams, if you will.
5 or 6, yeah.
There's certainly some others looking in, but those are the ones that we really wanted to talk about and highlight. Mike, I got issues with something that came out this week, and since
Uh-oh.
I have this platform here,
You have a captive audience, my
I have
friend.
a captive audience, tens of fans. Did you see how the NBA came out with the named NBA MVP award?
They renamed it,
I think they
or they
named
named
it.
it.
Yes,
Named it.
it hadn't
Yes.
been named prior to this time.
I did, now that you say that, I think I caught a headline, but fill me in. Talk to me, Dave, like I'm a 10-year-old. No. Talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old with learning problems. Help me out here.
Well, so the guy that most people think is the greatest player in NBA history,
Jordan.
Michael Jordan, they have named the trophy that they give to the most valuable player during the regular season after Michael Jordan. And
Okay.
you can search this up, and there's a lot of specifics in the trophy related to Jordan, as far as the height of the trophy being like 23 inches, 0.6 inches, because it's
Oh.
his number and the number of titles he won, and there's a whole bunch of different things there. And it's splitting hairs. However, the NBA MVP, regular season MVP award, is something that Michael Jordan won 5 times.
Mhm.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Is there somebody else who won more regular season MVP awards?
Are you asking me? Or are you
It
telling me?
was somewhat rhetorical. Wanted to see if it jarred anything. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Yeah.
6 regular season
Skyhooking it.
MVPs, Skyhook, career leader in points per game. At this point in the history of the NBA, seriously does not get enough love, if you can imagine. That kind of thing.
Sure.
So little bit of an issue there when you have somebody as good as Kareem, and certainly as good as Jordan. Obviously splitting hairs, but if you're going to name the MVP award after somebody, let's name it after the guy who's won it more than anybody else, Kareem.
I understand what you're saying, and you're not totally wrong, but here's where you're mostly wrong.
Oh, okay.
When you think of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, do you think championships? No, you think scoring. When you think of Michael Jordan, you already said it, most people consider the best of all time. Well, the best of all time, that's an award that goes hand in hand with MVP, regular season MVPs. Scoring titles, if you wanted to name the, league leader in scoring every year, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award, I'd be right there with you.
Okay.
But as far as regular season MVP, which is a joke, because how many years in a row was it? I mean, Jordan should have won more. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal, when he was dominating the league, it just wasn't fun. Like we said earlier, the narrative changed and people aren't having fun rooting for the same guy. Shaq could have won the award a dozen times. There was nobody in his prime that was more valuable to his team. That being said, I totally agree. Kareem does not get enough credit or love in the midst of time. And what I find curious about this, Dave, is why now?
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't the beginning of the season they announced this. It wasn't during an all-star game or some kind of, commemorative moment in the NBA.
Nope.
It just kind of came out randomly.
Hey, here's a random Monday, Tuesday storyline. Let's just throw out that we renamed the trophy, or that we named the trophy.
Right. Very interesting. And wonder if we'll see a couple weeks down the road, something else happens with Jordan, and maybe this was an olive branch, or I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go all conspiracy theory, but just interesting, the timing of it. But
No, I completely agree. And your point is well made, that why wouldn't the NBA choose a signature moment to announce this?
Right.
Like pick a spot, like you said, the All-Star game.
Right. Well, the attention of
Christmas
NBA
Day,
on
when you
one.
have the the
Perfect.
buffet of
Yep.
Christmas games all day long. Oh, let's the night before, let's announce the MVP trophy naming and all of this. Yeah, it does seem very bizarre. So we will put a pin in that, as they say, and see if that comes back anywhere to something farther down the road for Jordan. The interesting piece is, as you think, another storyline is LeBron's chasing of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record, which he very well could break this year.
Sure.
So
Sure.
again, another opportunity to say, name the MVP trophy after Kareem. You've got this, kind of thing going on, but regardless, it's another story.
Here's where I think they're going. So Jordan is the regular season MVP award. Then you have Kobe's the All-Star Game MVP award. You have Jerry West as the logo, the symbol of championships, I guess, which I wouldn't call that a modern day symbol, but at the time. So are they going to say it's the LeBron James scoring championship after he breaks the Kareem's record?
Jeez, I don't know. It seems like
now
that's
you have
a ways away, but
greatest players, the GOATs in all argument, represented through the decades. Is that really where they're going? How you don't have Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem, all those guys all considered. Right. And that's the problem with the NBA is now you got enough sample size and history. Somebody's going to be left out and offended.
Mm-hmm.
And sounds like you, rightfully so, are stomping for Kareem. So keep up the good fight. Yeah.
Again, it is splitting hairs. You look at regular season MVPs titles. Kareem has 6, Jordan has 6. It's a very close discussion, which you can do. You can look at the top 10 NBA players of all time, and you can, at this point, you can legitimately make arguments for probably all of those 10 if you put a list together to be some of the greatest. I heard Larry Bird's birthday was in the last week, and my good friend the Mad Dog said, look, if it's coming down to I want a series, I want to win a series, and I want one player, he said he would take Larry Bird over anybody, over Jordan, over Kareem. So, you can make those arguments for a good 10 players in the league.
Yeah, and Bird, ironically, really does not get enough credit for what he and Magic did, and then Michael, to save the NBA financially and all of that. I mean, you think about Bird's career, leaving Indiana during his freshman season, hating Bobby Knight. He was back working for the DPW in Frenchwick, Indiana. And the coworkers were like, you got to go play basketball. Chicks never heard of Indiana State, undefeated till the finals. And then what he did as a pro, I won't spend the next half hour listing off his accomplishments, mostly because I can't off the top of my head. But I mean, really, through the midst of time, he should be talked about more. I agree, with the people that they do talk about as the GOAT being in the discussion. But anyway, that's my little Larry Bird rant since you got on your Kareem rant.
Oh, no. And I brought up the, top 10 players of all time. Larry Bird has to be there. You look at, the MVP awards, the clutch shots, I could think about, oh my gosh, it was in 1987 against the Lakers. And, the Lakers, hit this, great shot to go ahead in LA. I forget which game it was. And they come back and they left just enough time on the clock, like 2.5 seconds.
Right.
And, Larry Bird gets a wide open look for three, which would have won the game, and misses it. And, Magic says years later, he was shocked that shot didn't go in.
Right.
And Larry Bird said the same thing. I expected it to go in. I had the
Sure.
perfect release. So despite all of that, nobody wanted Larry Bird to have the ball at the end of the game. And you can say that about a bunch of players, but Larry Bird is one of them.
Certainly is one of them.
And was he the fastest guy? No,
Couldn't jump higher than anybody.
Right. Could he
wasn't more
jump high?
athletic. Right.
No, but you put him out there, he could score, he could rebound, he could pass, all of the things that you would want from a big time player.
Absolutely.
And Larry Bird can do that. So, but yeah.
I'm sorry, I felt like we kidnapped your Kareem stuff for Larry Bird. So
no,
yes,
it's fine. I think it's, important to, it's not just Kareem obviously is the Kickstarter there, but a lot of those guys don't get as much love, and which is challenging, and in a good way, because there are so many really good young players in the league. And that's a good thing. We can start comparing them to some of the guys that Mike and I saw growing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good.
Speaking of not getting enough
league.
love, Dave, we're needy. We're a little bit vulnerable. We got ourselves out there on social media. We're out there on the YouTubes now. And by all accounts, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're needy and we need constant maintenance, like a Tamagotchi. Okay. If you ignore us, we're going to die. So pet us every day. Give us a like and subscribe, but give us a comment on each podcast. Let us know, do you like the hat we're wearing? Do you like the Flutie shirt in the background? Should Mike shave more often, according to his wife? Those kind of things. But also the content would be important to us. So,
yes,
keep an eye on us. You hold us accountable, and let us know how we're doing here as we end the year 2022, reflecting on what we've done and looking forward to 2023 and beyond. So we appreciate any feedback. You can catch us at Think Tank Sports, either on Twitter or Facebook. Search us up on YouTube, Think Tank Sports, and you'll find us, and we would enjoy the interaction. Until then, we'll be keeping an eye on the NBA and all other things sports related, as we here at Think Tank Sports strive for 5 as we think and you listen.